Good afternoon and welcome to the Modern Workplace Summit, Part 2. We will begin in approximately 1 minute as we allow all of our attendees to get onto the session. Thank you. All right, welcome back. Welcome to today's Modern Workplace Summit. This afternoon's session, we have how application development can improve your business. Our session speaker for today is Karina Myers. Karina is the Application Development and Collaboration Practice Director for Red Level. Karina is a dynamic information technology professional and client advocate with over 15 years experience as a technical lead and architect for complex enterprise solutions. She is a strategic certified Scrum developer with proven experience delivering robust solutions that produce quantifiable results. She provides strategic project leadership for developing functional and technical plans with executive sponsors that align with the client's business goals. Thank you for being here today, Karina. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. If you were here yesterday, thank you. And thank you for your patience. And let's do this again. Let's try this again. So thank you for joining me in the application development individual session. I have quite a few good things prepared for today. I'm sorry, wrong slide. I love it when, for some reason, things do not go the way you want it to go.
It's all good.
All right.
And while Karina's getting her slide pulled up, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask them in the Q&A panel.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so for today's session, I have quite a few case studies prepared for you. We're going to be taking some kind of a journey along all what has been 2020 so far. We're going to be covering a couple scenarios where a couple of our clients partner with us to help them go back and get their workforce back to the office safely and all their end users safely back to work. As well as covering some case study with CMU for a project that we did when it comes to as far as reporting and change management case study that we're going to get pretty in depth with that. So let's see, it has been quite a year, but if anything with just kind of the technology disruptors and business disruptors that we've had in the year, not just the usual upgrade of technology and the framework changes and the usual day-to-day struggles. This year we are going through a pandemic. So if anything, all these challenges have really proven that it just continues to push technology forward. It has put it front and center. The prioritization of process automation, of portability, of touchless solutions that are friendly now in the world that we live in with social distancing. We're going to talk a little bit more about the process automation that we did for one of our clients and also the risk of paper, which I'm sure anybody can relate to, especially now, not only because of the contactless need, but also just data analysis and the usual ability to report and digitalize this content so it's securely kept. Tracking and analysis always top of mind, and especially nowadays, and the kind of the change that happened when we still need to work together when working apart in a way. So there's been a lot of pivoting happening this year, and we're just going to cover some of those examples. So first, we're going to go over the case study that we prepared for Prince George's Community College. Prince George Community College is located in Washington, D.C., where their main campus is located, and they have about 5 other sites. They have received a lot of recognitions from the White House, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, and the NSA due to the excellence of quality of education and opportunities they provide to the community and to their students. And if you really look at it, it's a large number of people involved between faculty and staff and students. We're talking about a number of 45,000 users. They were established in 1958, so they hold a long history of just excellence in education. So Prince George was presented with an interesting business challenge at the beginning of the year. How can we quickly bring our employees and students safely back to work and to college? If you are in the education industry, you can relate. You can see how it's not only relying on the technology that you choose to have, but it's also important, extremely important, because the type of information needs to be carefully, securely safeguarded. And employees and students, it just adds a little bit more complexity than the usual business scenario. So around the time that the stay-at-home orders happened and people were starting to consider what should we go for these essential businesses, essential workers that needed to go back to the office or to their clients to service them and still be able, so they can be able to conduct business. Just like us, we were, Red Level was struggling with the same challenge. It's like, we need to have some kind of technology that can easily keep us running the business, but also serving our clients who are in the process of moving from working in an office setting to remote because of safety reasons. So technology was there for us. So we, as a technology company, prepared a Power Apps application leveraging the Microsoft 365 solution in less than a week or 2, if you consider kind of the documentation and the user manuals that were created after that. The team was able to put together an app, and we called it ClearPass App, the COVID ClearPass App. About 1,200, like 1,200 users have downloaded it, and a lot of these organizations are using it in their business so they can safely work in the office. And that was it was Red Level's decision to make it available to the public, just because it was helping us be able to go back and go to clients and help our clients as needed in a safely manner. It will help them too, to be able to also conduct their business when they just couldn't really stay home. They needed to go out there because of their essential business status. So Prince George looked into that application that we put out there, ClearPass App, and they were very intrigued. There was a lot of really good features that were put out there, already available, free, available to the public. If you had a Microsoft 365 platform, you would normally would have access to Power Apps, and we kept it nice and simple, so it would cover a lot of those basic licenses, not complexity at all. And it covered like the core features that we identified was the screening that needed to happen, the capacity restrictions per location, notifications, ability to analyze this data. And also, if we knew that not all organizations, not all businesses are technology businesses like us, so we needed it to be customizable, scalable, and easy to customize for their business needs. And the portability of it, that Microsoft 365 tools have was a big plus. So it ended up being a really good approach as a quick solution to put out there that will service a lot of organizations. In the case of Prince George Community College, they came back and they said, love it, we need some updates that would apply to our industry. So in addition to integrating the ClearPass app for them, we met with various stakeholders, a number of very talented professionals in their field, and we really embedded this ClearPass app into their PGCC, what they called it BWISE initiative. And it is their COVID-19 preparedness and responsive plan, very well developed, a very well written communication plan. When you really think about 45,000 users that quickly needed to pivot between what the normal pace was to, hey guys, these are the measures that we are taking now to safely conduct our business and also prepare for students coming back to class. So that communication plan was flawless, and it's still going and strong, and we're very proud of the work and the partnership that developed with Prince George Community College due to this. So we leveraged a lot of their Microsoft 365 solutions. We talked about their current technology that they had available, the resources, and kind of the roadmap. Started working on that roadmap for a phased approach based on their needs and the long-term vision, what this app could be for them. We made some customizations to their PGCC ClearPass flavor app and added some tweaks that really made sense for their use case, like the data collection and the evaluation that was being done and that took into reporting and data visualization, leveraging Power BI solutions. That one is key and is used daily by the team. We are also doing the user management and location management. There's user roles that are being defined, location management, not only per like 5 sites that they have, but also like in those sites, there's it was a decision that they will be tracking more granular the locations and the buildings that where traffic was happening. And the fast turnaround, which was key. It's key because development can take a long time, but if we leverage the tools that we have available, then if we make that part of our strategy, it can be very impactful, and we can make very good decisions as far as the change management process, and also the just kind of the communication plan on how this is going to get rolled out in the entire organization. So that was a very good, and now we continue to work with Prince George's Community College to see what that phased approach is going to look like as the entire group of students will eventually prepare to get back into class, not only remote but also coming in person. In addition to the actual user and admin manuals that were created just for the communication plan. Another example on how an organization, a business decided to pivot this year because of COVID-19 is the DIA. DIA is a long-term client, and we have great partnership. And if you attended a panelist interview yesterday at 12:30, then you would have seen Richard Scott's comments and statements on how all their initiatives and the vision that they have on how they are safely bringing in their visitors and their employees back to work and back to the museum to visit during this pandemic. It's a well thought out process. Lots of very talented people are involved in. It was just a great interview. I really hope you were able to make it. So in this case, we're going to cover the technical side of things, like what is it that we did in a tactical way for the visitors and for the employees. So these are two different users again. So they're both in the line of business that they're in as a museum. It's just, you cannot anticipate the number of users that are going to come in and the number of visitors that are coming in, right? So there's two key approaches that we're taking, and they are really moving towards the touchless initiative. Everything is touchless as far as ticketing, providing feedback, and we're working on many of those initiatives on how everything is gonna be social distancing safe and touchless and safe for the public and their employees. So when it comes to the public, we DI partnered with Red Level, and we really brought into fruition that vision of a ticketing app that integrated with a ticketing app that the public could use, that would integrate with their internal ticketing app. So there's really no ticketing app out there that will offer the specific requirements that the DIA would have, as they have a lot of specific offers that they have for instance, for the Detroit Tri-County area members. The Detroit Tri-County area members, they have access to free offering to access, free admission to access the DIA. So the ticketing app has that specific logic, that ability to, if you are part of the Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties, you would be eligible for the discount. And that was key. It's nice to kind of have that ability of like personalization, depending on where you're from, the offerings align with where you're coming from. And also the time slots. So in the app had various time slots, and in an easy way for the visitor to kind of reserve the spot based on the max capacity that has been allocated for that time slot for that specific admission. So we integrated with their internal ticketing system. There's a validation of membership depending on the type of membership they have, the limits. There is very well-defined verification process based on the membership, the number, the last name, the membership type they have, and the collection of like the data on how to, when they are reserving their ticket, and the logic behind it as far as the number of tickets, whether if it's a child, then it would be at no cost, and so on. So the ticketing app ended up being a game changer in this, especially this year, but even for the DIA, it ended up being a game changer in the business that they're in. Prior to this, it was the usual ticketing system, and that got very limited at the beginning of the year, when all these restrictions of staying safe and how to securely be able to have just offer the services to the visitors. We need to take this into consideration. So as far as the internal approach, so that is for the public, but now for the employees and the contractors and anybody else that's kind of coming in and out of the offices, that needed to be a different approach. What you see now in the middle of the screen is sort of like the admin view. Not everybody sees that, but I wanted to include that screen there because you have the check-in option, but there's also every type of user will get a different option there. If you're an employee, you got the employee registration. If you're a contractor, you got a host registration, and so on, shift registration, and there's a final check-in. That's like the super admin view that not everybody gets. But overall, the process that was followed for screening the people that are coming in, the employees that are coming in and out of the building, is very thoroughly thought out. There's a process of, depending on the type of user, there's define data points that get recorded and captured, and a logic behind it. And there's a required pre-registration process based on capacity. Once that the person has pre-registered, they can check in when they're about to enter the building. And there's also another layer there where the security we need to clear the check-ins that were requested. So there is a very layered kind of checks and balances on how the traffic gets conducted, and it all with the main purpose of keeping everyone safe and as they're coming in and out of the building. So we worked on multiple user roles and multi-level approval process, as I described. And the nice feature that how ClearPass was updated for them here was the ability to check in for various dates at once. So ClearPass, it allows you to check in for the day. In this case, it really made sense to kind of have it so people can reserve a range of dates. And the nice thing too is that they use SharePoint Office 365, and we ensured that it integrated with their calendar in SharePoint, so everybody could really have visibility on the kind of the spots that were reserved internally. And this is just another view on how the admin side looks like. It's just, like you're able to see everyone that's checked in. If there's some pending statuses, that's just the super admin access where you can really kind of see the names and the check-ins and the timestamps. And they use, depending on the type of user you are, they would have specific fields that need to be filled out. Some of them are very, very granular as far as, if you're a contractor, then what's the purpose of the visit and so on. So very well thought out process there. It was definitely a success, and we're currently working on many other projects that were kind of with the same idea on just digitalizing and ensuring touchless contact here for the DIA. So great story there. The next that I bring up to you today is the case study for the project that we did with the CMU and the Center for Charter Schools. And so this one, the business challenge that was presented here for this particular project is they have an annual performance reporting that they do throughout the year. So it's not just once a year or at the end of the year, it's just throughout the year, seasonal, depending on how the data comes in. The challenges that they face, though, is that the review process of this reporting it needs to be well curated just because of the nature of the data. It is about performance of schools, and the data needs to be accurate enough. So because of the very well detailed process when creating this report, creating this manual was a challenge to the team. Sometimes it would take over a month. And that's a long time to work on a document, especially if you're thinking that if you consider that it would be for each of the schools that they work with. So 56 schools, a report for each of them. A lot of resources and a lot of time can go into that generation, a very well curated, sometimes 30-some pages type of report. So the business challenge was, how can we optimize the use of our resources when preparing this information and sharing it to the public throughout the year? This is just a list that I just described of how all the pain points or all the issues that we identified as we were meeting with them, conducting just interviews and trying to bring into surface a lot of the issues and rooms for improvement. So the process being tedious, the reviewing process being tedious, the number of people being involved was definitely a pain point there. But overall, it was also because it's a manual process and different data sources, there is you always fall into that issue of the lack of standardization in the process. You know, just because of whether if it's a spreadsheet or a database, and trying to compare those data points, it's just a lot of room for missing some kind of information there. So usually that first round of updates in the reports had the potential to carry inaccurate information, so there will be another round of reviews and so on. As you can see, the work that was being done, it was pretty heavy, a lot of heavy lifting there. So we really took our time with, let's hold a discovery workshop first. Let's be part of that strategy to really learn about the pain points, but also strategize about the tools that we're going to use that are going to maximize your productivity in the business, and the resources, and really looking into it, taking that holistic approach of a 360 analysis of resources, technology, and where you headed, the vision, the whole vision of this, the main purpose of this. So when we held the discovery workshops, we met with the stakeholders, and a lot of these requirements were brought to light. We just really itemized this and tried our best to define these project goals and the requirements, so we could really make an informed decision on when we're implementing something, we don't lose track of that guide. There were specific requirements that we listed as goals of this project when we were implementing it. One of them was provide a clear view of the options and suggestions that you're proposing for implementation. So there's a lot of ways on how we can create reporting systems. Power BI is one of them, Tableau, high charts. You can go to the web app format, if it is mobile, if it's responsive, or if it's so there's just a lot of options out there. They are all good, and they are even better if they align with your strategy, your business strategy, and your vision, and where you're headed, right? Your long-term vision. So we made sure we took that into account. They have a public website where this gets published, and they wanted these reports, this dynamic data, to be integrated in this public website, this public CMS. But the main, when looking at user experience, we needed to ensure that the integration was flawless, seamless. It didn't look like it came from another system, right? So that is perfect. So we made sure to include that as a goal of a success, as a way that we would measure our success in this project, making sure that it is seamless. And the look and feel of the application, it aligned with their branding, and it was responsive, and that it was compliant with all their, regulations that they needed to align with. So it worked. All the collaboration really came to reality, and now we're happy to say that we were able to bring in this vision into to the world, out to the public. We have integrated with their external responsive CMS site, and furthermore, we ended up partnering with their internal development team. They had a development resource that was really good, very, very talented, and we worked with him directly and ended up building APIs and any data hooks that were necessary in order to ensure that it was easily maintained by the internal team also. So we took the approach of empowering that internal development team, so then it can be extended, it can be customized and improved and maintained as easily as possible. We held multiple weekly status and technical calls to kind of refine that process, the APIs, and just really work hands-on, working with the client on how to bring this into reality. But most of all, our main focus too was to ensure that their compliance was intact. So we made sure it was compliant with their ADA and FERPA regulations, and there was a lot of internal conversations to ensure that this happened. Because of all this very good partnership that developed, we also are going to continue doing this ongoing support as needed, as a way to be there, a helping hand whenever it's needed. And you know, as a lot of internal projects goes, there's a lot to do, and we're there to help as much as possible as things keep moving forward and things evolve as technology does every year. So I'm sure this application, I mean, it's working, it's out there, it's working great, but just as resources get added and new views get introduced, a new vision and the strategy evolves, that application is expected to evolve and be richer and robust and offer a lot more data as we move forward. And we're looking forward to being part of that impact. Another example that I bring to you is change management and adoption. So this is a project that is in progress. And if you you probably have heard the word change management. The way that I would define it is basically it's really looking at any kind of impactful rollout that an organization is preparing to go through. It's how to ensure you bring your people along throughout that change successfully. That is, it's a loaded question. And there's a lot of parties that are involved to ensure that that is accomplished successfully. And it's not a couple months type of initiative. It is a well thought out process that, depending on the impact, is expected to have, whether it's technology or just process changes. It gets, with a change management project, you get to lay out that story in the roadmap, so then it fits for that business and it just works, and you're constantly doing these evaluations. So that's kind of what we're doing. In this case, this is a Michigan-based company that offers industrial products and supply chain management. Basically, it was established in 1947, and in this case, they haven't had a major technical rollout since 2007, other than the upgrade to Windows 10. So this is big. This is big for the organization. There's a lot of great ideas, and it's really going to move them forward. But so a well thought out process is needed. They have over 12 locations distributed across the US, Canada, and Mexico. So that really paints the picture. They are rolling out Microsoft 365 in their company. And their main focus as an employee-owned company is they want to increase user engagement and adoption in that process. They do not want to leave that behind, which is very smart. Technology that is rolled out for small, whether if it's small or large, it is about the people and those that end up working with the solution, and they need to be brought into that. Some of them at the very beginning, some of them in the middle, some of them, but all of those considerations need to be done when rolling it out. The approach that we took with us change management, with this change management project, is it can vary depending on the needs of the organization. The first phase of it is usually a strategic planning approach, whether if it is a cloud immersion experience. In this case, we did a cloud immersion experience in the governance roadmap. What those help do is really define the strategic planning and the readiness assessment of the team. When it comes to readiness assessment, what do I mean by that? It's just really evaluating how ready the employees are for this change. whether if it comes to training, to culture of the company, to the process, to the resources available. There are various areas that we kind of take into consideration when making this assessment, and it really gives you that 360 view, that holistic approach of if you're in the management and at the executive level, when you can see where you are at when preparing to roll out an impactful change in the company. But then there's the envisioning section, where it's really more hands-on. Let's work together, and we got like a good assessment of the entire organization as a whole, but now let's dig deeper and talk to the teams themselves, like the departments. Every department has their own needs. Every department has a way on how they do their work and their process and the tools that they use. It's its own little organization right there. So the team's focus approach to envision what that would look like for them, it's very important and it's key. And it's a really good way to sort of unearth the requirements, whether if it is training or resources availability per department. Very key, and that can be a lengthy process depending on how large the organization is. So we did that with them, and there was a lot of really good lessons learned from the team, and there's a lot of information that got uncovered, and that was kind of shared with the executive team to make decisions around that, as far as the timing on how to roll out this Microsoft 365 initiative, or if there's anything else that needs to happen before that. Some of the other items that we're preparing to jump into is we're going to be doing the Partner Champion Program. The Partner Champion Program is basically identifying those drivers in the company, those core teams that will be part of this change as a take that baton and move it forward, push it forward through the entire organization. So it's an area where we would do a lot of empowerment and build out this accountability and responsibility charts in the organization, so everyone is clear on what their role is in this initiative and how important it is, and what their goals are for that. Next, our plan is to do a communication plan, and this is mainly building out the templates around it. So whenever we roll out any kind of initiative, there needs to be some unified approach when addressing a topic, whether if it's small or large. So the tone of voice definition is key, and the timeline on when this gets distributed is also important. And we're really going to be partnering in making sure that this is well scheduled throughout the weeks, months in advance, so then everybody knows what to anticipate, and when something gets rolled out, it doesn't really take anyone by surprise. Everybody's anticipating it. There is some positive anticipation happening. The teams, the employees know there's change coming, and this is a good change because of how well structured this is being done. A big component of this is the structured learning plan. It helps the communication. It helps a lot when you give something to anticipate, but also let them know that they're going to have the tools available and the training available to be able to embrace this change. So we'll be doing the structured learning plan that in this case is going to address a lot of like the Teams essentials training, since they're moving to Microsoft 365. Teams is sort of the way on, if you're a Microsoft tenant, the way on how you collaborate nowadays, especially. And there's a lot that comes with it, not only on just being able to conduct like video conferences and meetings, but also how to utilize the rest of the tools available in Teams and the other tools in Office 365, like Planner, like To Do, like Tasks, how to integrate with Power BI if you're using Power BI, and how to best utilize and surface that information in Teams. That's where the training becomes so important, because then at that point it doesn't feel like there's so many tools. It feels like it is all in one place, Teams, which is where you come in, open up Teams, and that's what all this information is. Even SharePoint content if needed. So Teams essentially is one of the training that will be introduced with the various departments. And same with process automation. There's some repetitive process that they do, and we'll be kind of discussing those. The collaboration, best practices, OneDrive on how to store your files, whether if it's personal or company files, and lunch and learns as a way to roll out, like online meetings etiquette, or just lighter type of training that would really be helpful. Like a very common one is like how to stay organized when working from home, especially during this time. So these are kind of the lunch and learns that we're preparing to roll out as part of this full vision. The rollout plan is what comes after once that everyone has been brought on board and they are feeling very comfortable with what is coming, and they have the tools they need, what if it's documentation and the actual knowledge of it. The rollout plan covers the actual technical side of things, not just the strategy, the planning, and the training, but the rollout is actually the hands-on, let's build it, let's deploy it. Usually that's the part, if the strategy and the planning has been done thoroughly, the rollout plan is like, it can go very fast just because of there's no concerns as far as the impact that it's going to cause. There's no reservations. You can actually plan it out and schedule it in a way that you know for sure you're going to get the buy-in from the entire organization. So there will be pilot groups. We won't be rolling out all of these at once. There will be some specific groups like HR, IT, marketing, to just sort of be the drivers and get that initial feedback that way. Configuration of their Microsoft 365 solutions, staging and production deployment. Just staging is like the environment for testing before it goes live. So staging is really where the pilot group will interact and give us feedback, and refinement will happen, and then it will be a production deployment after. And the process optimization, process automation. One of the scenarios that we discovered from the strategic planning is that, and from the envisioning meetings with the teams, is that they meet with clients often, and they go to clients' offices and they have them fill out a form, just a normal paper form. And when talking about risk of paper, that is not only data that you will have to digitalize when you come into the office and enter in the system, hopefully, unless you keep it in the document in the paper form, and that is a lot riskier, like what happened in this case where one of their locations actually caught on fire. So that's very unfortunate, and there was a lot of data that got lost, and that is a true risk. Definitely, probably like the worst things that could happen when all your data is just in paper format. Some of the benefits of moving in digital is, you can actually back up that data. I mean, there's a lot less space that it would take, and just you can analyze this data. Now you can make decisions, educated decisions based on your data. Our plan is to do some debriefing after the rollout has been complete, and we are already planning on doing these quarterly check-ins, because as a way of partnering with our clients, we develop, we build, we consult, but there's always that continuous improvement in the strategy alignment that will happen because businesses evolve, businesses are constantly moving, so is technology. So as a technology partner, we will be checking in quarterly and helping as needed. that concludes my presentation.
All right. Thank you, Karina. I appreciate it. Next up, we're going to move into the Q&A section. If you could, please enter any questions you might have into the Q&A tab, and we'll go ahead and get started on our questions. So the first question that we had come in was, will the slides be available after the session? And the answer is yes, we will make the slides available after the session. We will send them out via email, as well as a recording of today's sessions as well as yesterday's sessions. Next question that came in: how long does it usually take to build an app using Power Apps?
To build an app in Power Apps, it depends. If you have the resources that are somewhat familiar with Power Apps, then ramping up is very easy, very simple. For, really within a week, you can just have something built, if not in 2 days. If it's a small app. If you're actually building out, documentation, a whole communication plan, I would add a few more days to that just so you can work with your marketing department. But it can be very simple depending on the type of application you're doing, and you can leverage a lot of tools. If it's Power Apps, but you need some automation in it, you can leverage Power Automate. If you need to analyze the data that you're collecting from Power Apps, that you're collecting in Power Apps, then you can tie it into your Power BI. And the sky's the limit after that.
Okay, next question. Do you need to know exactly how you want the app or what you want in the app from the beginning, or can it change as you go?
It's interesting because there's always going to be something that for sure you want. The biggest pain point is the one that gets addressed right away, right? It's like I'm uploading this file every single day at noon to this system, and I wish I didn't have to do it again. So you can automate that, and there's a solution for that. So the requirements, I would say that the key requirements get gathered at the beginning. Usually the client knows exactly what they want as far as the issues they want to get resolved. So there's some initial requirements that we all know for sure in that first conversation. What we normally find out is that as you're kind of clearing out those roadblocks for the clients, for the employees, then the ideas come up. They're like, well, what about some ways to improve this process? So when we have the discovery workshops, we bring those to light. We kind of itemize these biggest pain points, which sometimes we call them epics because they end up being like big requirements that are part of like a set of maybe 10 other little tasks that need to be completed as part of it. When those get already addressed in the conversation, then we dive it into how can we improve this process for you? Yes, we can solve it, but there's some solutions out there available for this. There's an evaluation of whether the process, that is being done right now is correct. If there are any changes to improving it, the long-term vision, is it a Band-Aid or is it a long-term vision? So that's where really we dive into the additional requirements that really make this solution excel, not just fix the one initial problem you had or the one or two or three or five problems you had, but really address, be impactful in your business in a positive way that you can be productive and enjoy working with this application for you. So we gather those requirements at the beginning. We follow the agile methodology when delivering projects, so we're constantly getting feedback and improving. And if there's some new requirements that come up, those are in the conversation, and we can prioritize and just address those right away if they end up being important and key in order for the solution to be the best for your business before you roll it out.
Okay. Next question that came in, is there a particular process you follow when delivering change management?
It starts with the readiness assessment. Usually, that always kind of informs our process the process that we should follow. It gives us a really good view of kind of what it is, what the expectations are, and what the roadmap would look like. It's all really focused on the people and the impact that the technology in this case will have in the people. It's what's called the ADKAR methodology. It's based on our, like ProSci. If you're familiar with ProSci, it's like a global leader in change management. We have our consultants are process certified, and we are following this ADKAR methodology that focuses on the awareness of the need for change. It's like A for awareness, D for desire to support the change, K for knowledge on how to do the change, and ability to demonstrate skills and behavior, and the R for like the reinforcement to make the change stick, which is just really the perfect recipe to ensure that change management gets delivered properly. And I mean, as far as the how to do it in a granular format, I mean, there's a lot of client partnership that we build out with the client, whether if it is the stakeholders, the departments, really addressing all those, the people side and the technical side, and marrying those two and I mean, working with the marketing team also as far as the communication and how it gets deployed. So it's a very holistic sort of 360 approach.
Okay, one more question. And again, if you'd like to ask any additional questions, feel free to put them into the Q&A box. But next question up, how can change management help my organization when it comes to upgrading or installing technology?
Anything that is, change management is really focused on that end user awareness and adoption. And that would apply to anything, including technology, specifically technology, because that's where it becomes critical when you're rolling out for as small as the application is or solution is. It is critical for the end user to be aware and has adopted this change. So I would just take it from that perspective that change management can be various things, and it can address the small technology initiatives you got, but also the larger vision that you have for your company.
Thank you. At this time, that was all the questions that we had come in. If you have any additional questions for us, feel free to reach out to info@redlevelgroup.com.